Hi, this is Mark Bruno, and we're here on the eve of Graph Expo with Printing News and PrintingNews.com. And with me today is Tim Greene. Welcome, Tim.
Thank you.
Tim, I want to ask first of all about your title. Tim's with research firm IDC, and on the business card it says Research Director, Hard Copy Solutions. So tell us a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, thanks. So Hard Copy Solutions really kind of a salute to the print days, or to primarily the print days of what IDC has been covering. But so I've always been heavily involved in wide format.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been with IDC for a year. Before that, I was in research for quite a long time before that. So I've been in wide format for a long time, wide format print. But now I have some additional responsibilities in 3D printing and in digital signage.
Interesting.
Thanks.
Okay, so let's talk about wide format and,
Sure.
and if digital signage or 3D printing fit into the bill
Okay.
as well.
Sure.
But specifically in terms of wide format and the changes that we've seen over the past several years, talk to me a little bit about the impact on the commercial printing side of the business in particular, and also at trade shows such as Graph Expo, and how things have changed in the wide format realm.
Sure. So, you know, I've been to Graph Expo many times and similar events, right? And so similar, I should say, events where there's a lot of commercial printers. And going back to the late 90s when I first got into the research business, I recall I've been many times standing in front of a wide format printer where the very slow shuttling head printer was going across. And most commercial printing organizations have always had that kind of wide format printer, but they use it primarily as a proofing device. Mm-hmm. And so it's been the speed capability and the production volume capability and the tremendous range of substrates that's now available makes it a much more of a solution that can be a real profit center. And so many commercial printers have said, okay, we know how to use this piece of equipment, we know how to sell it, we just gotta, we can amplify our production capability. And so I see a lot of commercial printers getting much more involved in wide format, either organically, maybe building up what they have, or through acquisition, mm-hmm. or some other kind of way.
Okay. And as far as the trade show front is concerned, talk about some of the changes that you've seen as far as the encroachment there.
Yeah, sure. I mean, the word is convergence, right? So, this event has more wide format wide format presence than it has in the past. Before there was, I think, a sort of a discrete area, and now you see many organizations, Xerox and Ricoh and HP and EFI, they'll have wide format solutions right there on the show floor. Mm-hmm. So that's been, it's front and center. It's part of the key offering that those companies are providing now.
And in terms of Graph Expo 15 this week, tell us a little bit about some of the things that you're anticipating seeing, or maybe looking forward to seeing, maybe your personal must-see-them list for while you're here.
Yeah, sure. So, I'm not. Everyone's always interested in what's new and what new technology is available, and certainly I'm not immune to that. Right? I always want to see what's new, and so I'm kind of particularly interested in seeing what the reception is to some of the single pass wide format mm-hmm. heads solutions that are going to be here at the show. You've got your Xerox and OSE. Those solutions have been out for a little while, but I think HP will have their single pass solutions here, and I'm kind of acutely interested in that. Mm-hmm. But also, there's an array of technology here at the show, right? You've got UV, you've got solvent, you've got single pass. And I really want to see sort of what does it look like? What does it take up? Or what's the reception to each of those discrete technologies?
Mm-hmm. And as far as attendees who are coming here, who may be curious about wide format, or maybe coming here specifically to look at wide format equipment, what type of guidance or advice would you give them in terms of how to delve into it, just how to go about viewing the show floor, so to speak?
Sure. So just like any event, right? You really gonna want to do your homework, right? Mm-hmm. Sort of, because there's a lot to see, and you could spend probably the whole event just looking at different wide format. You've got your equipment and finishing and supplies, and there's going to be a range of that kind of stuff here. So that it's always a good idea to sort of winnow down what you really need to focus on, and just like anything else, right? Do your homework a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to definitely go into before I leave the show, I want to have a certain impression of a couple of these key vendors or technologies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Tim, finally, tell us, you guys worked with Premier recently on a study.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about that study and what it's about?
Sure. Well, in a nutshell, it's really kind of a study that looked at the entire wide format inkjet graphics business in North America. So, we sized the market by technology, by vertical segment. We looked at and forecasted across the technologies, and again by vertical segment and by application. So there's a lot of information there about sort of what is the opportunity. And then underneath that, there's I call it the juice, right? What do you need to know? As you look at the market and you take a snapshot and say, well, what is wide format today? We got to do, interviews with a couple hundred end users and manufacturers and distributors and even industry experts, association people, editors, people
right.
that are involved in multiple aspects of that market. And we really got to understand sort of what's making things happen now and how is it changing and where do you see things headed. So I think I'm very excited about that study. It was really a great opportunity to work with that organization and just a really good opportunity to plug in with so many different constituents within the wide format business.
Is that study currently available now?
It is, yes.
Okay, and how can people access that if they're interested?
They should contact Premier, that is PRIMIR, or NPES.
Okay, great. And then one last question, not to throw you a curveball, but we talked a little bit in the beginning about 3D printing.
Yes.
Talk to me and the audience a little bit about, I think still a lot of commercial printers out there just don't see how 3D printing fits, into our business model.
Sure.
How do you view it? What angle are you coming at it from?
Yeah. So that, by the way, that viewpoint is totally understandable.
Mm-hmm.
Like I understand, because in many cases, it is the technology is developing as a prototyping capability, and that's not really a service that many printer or commercial printers offer, right? So it does seem like, we'd have to sell it to a different group of people at that company. Maybe we don't know them. Maybe we're not involved in that. On the other hand, if you sort of back away and say, do we provide print, or do we help this company with their supply chain, or do we help them communicate, right? So there's other ways to sort of think about the services you offer, and if you just expand it a little bit and say, like, okay, we're a supplier to them, we're a partner of them, and we can help them, accelerate time to market, or we can help them save money. Well, that's just additional value you can provide, and many commercial printers do that all the time right now anyway, right, with their data systems and those kinds of tools.
Right.
So if they just think about what they can do with 3D just a little bit differently, then I think it's definitely a business they can play in.
Yeah.
But that said, that market is developing so rapidly. Literally every day there's something that comes out that you say, like, wow, this could change everything. So it's a very, very interesting space.